I can't keep doing this anymore with Solana. I really can't. I've had enough, and I don't want to do it anymore. It's pathetic. It's what you probably have heard on Twitter over the past few days, due to the big old thing with Libra and that whole thing going on. You can see, we've had a bit of a, the market's gone down, but Solana has not been too positive from this whole thing going on. Obviously, Mike's talked about it, and everyone and their grandmas talked about it. So I'm not going to really talk about it on the fundamental side of things. I want to look at the charts. I want to see what's happened to the price, and I want to see where we can go from here. Okay, because I did talk on my stream about Solana, unbeknownst to the kind of going after the people behind Libra, which didn't help in terms of the market sentiment to Solana and so on and so forth, and caused us to go below our 27 EQ, which we were happily sitting at. But, not all is bad for Solana. I don't think it's too bad in the current situation we are in right now. Obviously, we'll get into the charts. We'll actually see what's going on. So we're on the daily here, just to see the candles on a larger frame, and see the overall kind of movement we've had in Solana. I'm not going to spend too much time on this time frame because I want to look at the nitty-gritty of it. The main kind of thing I want to point out, let's just move on straight away. Main thing I want to point out are obviously this main EQ, the 27, this EQ, we've had for a while now, and we did come to when we had the fundamental. And my point I was making on Monday, or the last stream I did on Solana, obviously depending on when this video comes out and when you're watching it, the last stream I did, I talked about Solana, and we were at this. If I go to 1 hour even and look at, I did label the time, roughly the time of when things were happening, and it actually coincided because obviously, I believe it was around the afternoon of Monday, and obviously when we started to come down from Monday, which was actually, funnily enough, when I streamed pretty much. Obviously, it was actually this area here when I streamed into here, but it was basically 10 or 11 afternoon of Monday, or the night time on Monday even, and then from there we've had this kind of finally moving down because we were sitting really nicely at equilibrium, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. here, and at 1 a.m. here. We bounced really nicely on it, but we just didn't, weren't able to hold it. We continued to do lower highs as we came down, especially here. Obviously, these were previous lower highs, but again, coming down to this area, we saw these lower highs consistently coming down, which was not a very good thing, which allowed us to actually then surpass the equilibrium and then come down to our area. Why do we bounce off this area? What is this? What's the significance of this line, which we kind of bounced off here? You can see the prints on the 1 hour. Well, this is the 81 low, okay? If I get the ranges up here, you can see this is the low area, okay? So we have ranges, or the current range we're in anyway, on the higher range, on the 81, is about 162 all the way up to about 243, okay? So we're on the low end of this range. Big range, this is a larger time frame. If we go to the 27, we can also see 81 here, in between 162 and 189 roughly. So, regardless of where we are in the ranges. But on the lower time frames and the more, active time frame, which is the 27, we are able to see, a bit more detail faster on Solana and its ranges. So we can see here we're in this range, we're bouncing off the high, came down, bounced off purple. It's really nice price action, okay? Because Solana's really good when it comes to these ranges, and this one especially, because this is like the most perfect movement. We can see multiple uses of the low end bounces perfectly. Flipped it, obviously market negativity, came down, difficulty at the high, came down, nice bounce, bounced directly off the purple line to confirm we are now in this range. Continue to come down to the equilibrium, found support equilibrium, negativity in the market, flipped equilibrium, came to the low, and now we're coming back up to equilibrium and bouncing. So really, really nice price action for Solana, really good. Whether it be obviously positive or negative is a different thing, but in this case, regardless of what side, I can't be biased in that regard. It's still nice price action, really, really nice, formed price action. So coming to where we are now back at equilibrium. And at the bottom end of it, having difficulty to get up. In terms of my confidence of getting up or not, I still think we have potential to do that. I don't think we're gonna. This is our range from now on, in between 176 and 162. I don't think this is the end of Solana, as you probably have heard on Twitter, like I said in the intro. But as I have it right now in front of us, we are at the equilibrium, trying to get back above. But we are still going strong, though. You know, it's not like we're horribly at the equilibrium. We're going strong into equilibrium. So obviously, unless we start to do some more lower lows and start to break down, we're still kind of going at a good pace to try and break up. Because again, I mean, in the scenario we're in, and especially here, we had great support. And I think we are very overextended on the lower end of things. I think the market has longer term potential for moving upwards, especially with Bitcoin and its weekly equilibrium, which we're in, and Ethereum's equilibrium. Obviously, Solana was a bit different, if you remember from any of my streams recently, relative to my time. Obviously, if you're watching this, you know, a year in the future, it won't be relative. But we have this kind of trend. This was the trend we had on the weekly, which we have broken out of and printed below. So again, a different story there. However, still market sentiment is that over the longer period of time, and as of now, we should be going upwards. So I don't think you know, we have market negativity. I don't think there's going to be, you know, a general, you know, outsourced you know, kind of force which is going to cause us to kind of not break above this equilibrium. I do think we are due to break up and continue back upwards, because again, this isn't really a fundamental breakdown of Solana. It is more so a kind of outside moving down in the price. However, again, there are some fundamental things happening. I think there is going to be sell-off in Solana. I don't know what time frame that is. I don't think that's going to happen in the next 4 hours. So I do think we still have a chance to get above equilibrium. The Libra thing is obviously still in its midst. It's resolving, whatever. So, you know, whether that still have lasting effects on Solana currently in the next couple of days, whatever, there's still potential for that. So there is also a precaution to take if you were to listen to this. Again, this is not financial advice, but you know, to point out as well, you know, things may have not fully resolved yet. There still may be negativity in the market, which could not fundamentally based on price action, but you know, just fundamentally bring us down. However, but as I see it right now, just on charts and price action, I should expect a movement upwards. Considering how fast we came below equilibrium and why we came below equilibrium, I wouldn't expect to not see any difficulty, which we are seeing, so that's fine. But I do expect us to go up a bit faster, back above equilibrium, and find support again. But before I move on to the future for Solana, if we do get above equilibrium and what I see above us for Solana, we actually have a word from our sponsors. So, Mike, please take it away.
And the sponsor of this video is Cryptonomy. Cryptonomy is a UK-based investment platform where you can stake your assets or you can leverage them, whichever you choose. We're going to have a very quick look at the platform before we continue with this video. But suffice to say, they are over 5 years old. They have 1 million registered users and over $6 billion in assets. Why did I choose Cryptonomy? Well, first of all, it checked out. There was no red flags. Everything about the platform stacks up. I've contacted technical support. They've answered quickly. There is very light KYC on the platform. So if you're looking at somewhere different to an exchange to put your funds, check out Cryptonomy. Now, let me have a quick look at the platform with you. Now, there are a few elements of Cryptonomy which I like. First of all, across the very simple menu, you have your fixed rate returns. In here, you can add your Bitcoin, you can add your Ethereum, you can stake them for anywhere from 1 month to 12 months and earn a very, very decent yield.
Now, to show you how easy this is, we're going to make a deposit into the fixed term ADA account. Click on deposit, choose the amount of ADA that we're going to lock up, choose the period of time that we're going to lock this up for, press continue, press create. There we have it. That is your ADA staked for 1 whole month.
In addition to fixed term savings, you also have margin trading. These are very, very risky, a lot higher risk than fixed and flexible rate returns, but the returns are a lot higher as well. So make sure to go and check that out.
Very similar to flex and fixed term deposits, margin trading is also incredibly easy. We're going to very quickly open an ICP position. Click the button, enter the amount you wish to deposit, choose the period of time, 6 months in this case, choose a low leverage, scroll down and press open the position. And the position has been opened successfully. In 6 months' time, the ICP position with its interest will be unlocked. It's that simple.
And the most exciting thing for me of all is the launch pool. As you know from watching Crypto Warehouse, we like to uncover new hidden gems, new 100x tokens on this platform. And on here, you will find a list of tokens that have gone live on Cryptonomy over the last few months, where you can gain excessive returns. So make sure to go and check out the launch pool. Now, as I've said, one of the big things with this platform, it is registered in the UK and you do need to complete some KYC. If you do that, then you will raise your level, your VIP level, and it will open up things like flexible margin trading and more returns and bigger yields. So make sure to complete your KYC. Don't just join the platform thinking it's like something registered in the Seychelles or the BVI. This is a legitimate platform. Before we made this video, I checked out Company's House, I checked out their returns, I even checked out the founder on social media to make sure that this was legitimate. And as I said, there are no red flags for this platform. It is very easy to use. You have flexible, you have fixed, margin trading and launch pool all available on here. It's very easy to use. Before you go and use this platform, make sure to do your own due diligence on it. And lastly, make sure to go and follow them on social media. They are very active. I've gone through this with a fine-tooth comb. They have a New Year's giveaway and a trading contest. If you go back to last year, they have been posting about social media, Donald Trump. They also have had trading competitions, also talking about the latest tokens. So make sure to go and check that out. As well as all of that, they also have a resource base where you can go and do your research into all of the projects launching on Cryptonomy. So make sure to go and check them out. So there we have it. We're going to leave a link in the description below to Cryptonomy. We will leave a link to their X account, their Telegram group, and of course the platform so you can sign up. Make sure you do your own due diligence on them and do your own research. But from us, back to the video.
Thank you, Mike. So let's get back into it. Let me get rid of these. Let's go on the higher time frame and let's have a little look at what's going on. Okay, so let's hide this range because I don't want the chart to be ugly because I want you guys to be able to see. So this is obviously our previous low. This is equilibrium. I'm going to delete this. It was just a line to see. So we are currently below our equilibrium, which we have had usage of so nice in the past few months, whenever. Obviously find difficulty, like I said, I already talked about this. So looking on the upward end of things, what do we have? Okay, well, we have two things. Again, these are on the higher ranges, so these aren't going to be things which are going to affect us fundamentally in the next 2 hours or whatever. We do have this equilibrium at 81. I do want to point out as well, this is going to be big difficulty. I definitely think this will be big difficulty because not only do we have this equilibrium, we had this previous trend line upwards on the weekly, which we are now broken out of. So to see resistance at those lines, there is definitely potential for that. I'm going to delete it. Actually, no, I'm not going to delete it because I might use it later. However, I'll hide this. I don't want to see this anymore. It's going to be up here, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so anyway, going back to it. So yeah, on the 81, bit of a higher time frame here. On the daily, the 4 hour, whatever, we do have this major equilibrium here. So as you can see with these supports and testing into this range, we are going to see resistance in this area. I definitely think so. You can see this massive dump, retracement to print into it, support, flip, resistance, the end, whatever. So past this point, we saw big resistance at this equilibrium, and then we've now come down. I reckon we'll come back up to it. So I reckon we will see these prices again, relatively shortly. I don't think it's going to take that long for us to see that again. If there's something which happens to Solana, and this goes for every coin, not just Solana, if something happens to the coin or something external from the coin, whether that be relative directly to the coin or to the market as a whole, it will affect prices. It's something you can't chart because at the end of the day, you can't just solely chart. You can get away with it, but there are just fundamental things which can happen outside of price action, which can affect the price, as we have clearly seen with this Libra scenario and certain other things in the market which have caused this negativity in Solana. So it's just things you can't control inside of the charts, but we can do our best. So anyway, going back to that, 195 to about 209, 209.5. This is the range of the equilibrium. I've talked about this on my streams, obviously relative to when the video goes out or when you're watching this. I've talked about this, this is a decent resistance area. I wouldn't expect there to be some magical thing going on from $173, which we are at right now, to just boost us up above that. I think we are still going to see difficulty there. But coming from the period, of when I think it released on the 14th, I think there was multiple occurrences of negativity from Libra. So since it coming out on, I believe it was Friday the 14th, when the coin came out, from then we've just been going down. So I think we can see this recovery, quite decently as we go up on the higher time frames. Anyway, I think we will see this recovery back towards $200. Not saying there won't be difficulty coming back up to there, but I definitely think we will see that. But then the next things I want to point out on a bit more of a longer term thing for Solana are these main areas of this breaker block here and this fair value gap. So what am I thinking in this area? Well, we have a positive breaker block here. Okay, so if we can get above this is in a scenario of breaking above equilibrium. Because, okay, before I go into this, let me talk about if we don't break above this equilibrium, we're just going to see what we've already been seeing, which is going to be in this range of, 188 area. Let me maybe bring up 243. There might be some ranges on some different prices. Yes, this is the low. So what we have on the 27 is breaking above 189. Excuse me. On the 189 area here, we can see massive support here. This is why we've been bouncing in between equilibrium and the 27. But on the 81, it just looks like equilibrium. But on the 27, we can see the equilibrium we have. We can see us bouncing off the low end and whatever. So I think coming back into that, like I said, it will just be in between 189 and 203. This is what we've been in. This is the difficulty we've had. Now, again, coming back up into that, yes, we will see 216. And again, the 27 on Solana, you can see pretty accurately, is really nicely respected, especially there, here, this area, really nice respect of these prices. I had to hide it quickly. So again, but that's on the 27. That's maybe like the 1 hour, 4 hour area. That's not the daily or the weekly. That's a lower time frame range. So the influence that has on the price, especially on the larger time frames, isn't as strong. So because for example, if we go to the weekly and then had the 27. It doesn't look like we have a lot, but again, this is the weekly. It's a relative amount of influence it has on the price. Not saying it doesn't have influence. You can see there are periods where we have these, nice respects, but again, that's just the price on the lower time frames, printing for the weekly. So it doesn't really matter. But again, going back to the 4 hour, on the lower time frames, those ranges will be a lot stronger. But as I see it coming into the daily time frames and the future for Solana, my main kind of movement I have is going to be this, okay? So let's just draw from here because again, whatever. It's going to be this. This is the general movement. This isn't accurate. This is just something. Okay, we've got a weekly fair value gap on the 243. Okay, this is a large time frame weekly fair value gap, which we haven't come into properly yet. And then just below that, we have this positive breaker block on the daily time frame. So what is that? Okay, well, what that is basically is a failed order block. So we are going to be able to use it as resistance, which we can see we have done, in these areas. This is it right here. If we go to the 1 hour and come into it, you can see, this is where it formed. This is us finding resistance at it, near resistance at it here. But this is, we found resistance at this order block. And what can happen with breaker blocks is you can form the order block, use it as its intended way, and then flip it. So we've formed it, used it in its intended way, and now we've come down. So I think the next step for this breaker block is going to be flipping it and using it as support. So I definitely think that's going to be happening when we see these prices. So I think the next run up towards higher end prices for Solana and in the market as a whole, because again, remember, if you've been on my streams recently, obviously that is relative to when you're watching this video, you know what my targets are for Bitcoin and these, really high prices we're seeing, or I expect to see, considering where we are right now. I think the next run up we have and streak of positivity for the market is going to allow for these prices. So in Solana's case, it's going to be coming up into these fair value gaps, breaker blocks, and so on and so forth, back at $243. I think that's definitely going to be one of the areas. Again, as it goes up and up and up, we see different prices. But again, the main area I see right now, relative to the daily time frame, maybe the weekly, is going to be us coming up into this breaker block, finally finding support at it, and then finding maybe quick wick into the fair value gap, and then coming down. Again, another scenario it could play out is we wick up into the fair value gap, come down, and then continue onwards. Kind of like a big thing like this, and then it continues almost like that, or something like that. But again, we do have this fair value gap to pay attention to on the weekly, which will bring us down a bit. And again, this is on the weekly, so for it to only bring us down 6% might not be feasible, in general. So it could be a bit of a lower movement downwards, where it come down even further to about 207. So again, do bear that in mind with this. But again, that's the general movement I see on the higher time frames as we move up back in the price for Solana. But again, to take away from this video, it's mainly going to be this 27 price, this price range. Let me delete this. Actually, no, I'll leave that there. Actually, I'll delete it. Doesn't matter. Let me get the 27 back up. Yeah, so this is the main range I expect to be. If you were to trade something on Solana, it would be this. It's going to be breaking back above its equilibrium, breaking back above this area, and this equilibrium. So I think we are definitely going to see a surpass of this, all things being considered, ceteris paribus, whatever. I think, again, it's a good time to get in. Again, Bitcoin was the same scenario. When we had these dumps, it was just a big sweep of what we saw previously, and then we just continue to come back upwards. And I think that this will be the same case for Solana. I think we'll continue to come back upwards above equilibrium as well, and just see where we need to go. Again, we've actually got a breaker block here, which is actually a negative order block, so it's going to be a positive breaker block. So this is going to be a good support area at 180, basically. This is going to be a good support area. We've obviously seen resistance there as well, or support there previously. So I think this is going to be a good support area for Solana as well to pay attention to. So we've got positivity on the way up. I just think we're going to be continuing on upwards. I think the main difficult area is definitely going to be this 189, 186 area. I think this is going to be big difficulty for Solana, 100%. So do be careful on that as well. So I think that's about it for Solana. That's about it for the video. Thanks for watching. Like it, whatever. I am going to be back on Friday, which is tomorrow. Obviously, I'm recording this on Thursday. Again, this is relative. If you're watching this, in a year in the future, it's not going to be, whatever. But that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Join Telegram. See you. Bye.